Hey folks, Dave back here. Been a while since I talked to some of you guys here, especially live on YouTube or on the podcast or whatever. So I thought I'd get everybody caught up. What's going on with me? What's going on with the channel? What's going on with everything else? So as you know, the last few times that you saw us on the podcast or have postponed the podcast or are supposed to do something on YouTube or whatever, we complained about the heat. Okay, and I know you're tired of hearing about the heat, but honestly, it was bad. It was a bad 6 weeks of terrible heat. If anybody out here will tell you that. It was so bad. How bad was it? It was so bad that I had people in California telling me that they had less temperatures than we did. I mean, their temperature was lower than Boston. And they're like, holy cow, you get nailed in Boston. I'm like, this is what I've been trying to tell you. It's been 6 weeks. And some people say, well, that's summer for you. No, this was not just your normal summer, so to speak. That's like saying the Titanic was just another boat accident, okay? This was heat was bad. In fact, I got this little chair here. You can see this little whatever chair this is. I would be sitting in this chair and just doing, and I'm sweating. And I get fans all over the place. I got that's a fan right there, right there. That's a fan. There's one back here. There's one over there. I get fans everywhere. It is just so ridiculously hot. Even now, just sitting in this chair, I'm just sweating. So it hasn't been comfortable down here enough. It's been 78, 79 degrees here in the basement. Basement is hot. Okay, that's hot for a basement. And so I don't want to keep talking about the heat, but that's the reality of it. Is that Ron and I talk about doing shows, and I talk about doing stuff here. I was like, I don't feel like gaming. It's too hot. I don't want to game. If I game more than 20 minutes, I'm sweating. So I just would play a couple games on Steam. They're 20-minute games, and I would be done. As Matthew stops by, hello. How hot was it? It was 85 to 95, but it felt like 100 for almost 6 weeks. I went to a party on, was it July 3rd or 4th? I went to a party, it was a pool party, and we were baking on that day. And the next day it was so hot, I called him up, said, can I come back over into the pool? He's like, yeah. So we went back into the pool 2 days in a row. We hung out in the pool, and we baked both days, and it hasn't let up since. So it's been at least since July 3rd that I can recall that it's just been so, I don't think we had a 70-degree day as Steeler fan shows up here and Bears Den comes by. We haven't had a 70-degree day in July. I don't think we did. Usually we get a couple of nice days, like, I can watch the Red Sox, go outside, walk the dog. I haven't walked the dog. I haven't done anything. It's just been so hot. And the thing is, it feels even hotter. And we've had the ACs going on upstairs almost nonstop, but they didn't keep up. They couldn't keep up. I mean, you'd be sitting there, and it felt good for a few minutes, and then afterwards, like, I'm hot. Just when everything's around is 100 degrees, you're just baking. And we're in the sun. We get no shade in our house, so we're baking. And Matthew said it got to 103 for 4 days here in Vacaville. Okay, I'm not sure what Vacaville is, but that's pretty hot. Now, some places 100 degrees is fine. If you go to Vegas, 100 degrees is not that bad. Arizona right here is not that bad. Here in the Northeast, 100 degrees is sweltering because it's the humidity up here. So that's why we haven't done much. We were supposed to record a show, last Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and every day it was just too hot. And so finally we looked at the calendar. It was like, hey, let's do this Wednesday, right? Oh, so you're 30 miles from Sacramento, Northern California. That's actually kind of hot. Tony comes in. He's playing 54-64 with Diamond Mine. Now, speaking of 54, it's funny you bring that up, Tony, is that I saw something, somebody posted on Facebook that it said it was hotter in 1954 in Boston than it was this summer. So we can complain all we want, but 1954 was worse. I didn't read the article, but at least that's what the headline was. So it's funny that you'd be playing the hottest season, the hottest summer in Boston. So we're going to try to, or at least I'm going to try not to complain about the heat anymore because I know you guys are tired of it. But that's just been the reality. It's just been out of control. It's like a few years ago, I think it was, 5 or 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago now, we got hit with 9 feet of snow in a week. We don't get 9 feet of snow in 6 years. Okay, we'll get 3 feet a year, a couple feet a year. I think last year we only had like 1.5 feet of snow. And it was like 18 inches on Sunday, and then 18 inches on Tuesday, and 18 inches on Thursday, and 18 inches on Saturday. It turned out to be I think we had, was it 9 feet of snow we ended up having? It was like coming in at like whacks at a time. And I think we did get 36 inches at one whack, which is 3 feet. But it was like a foot and a half here, 3 feet here, a foot and a half here, 2 feet here, and there was no place to put it. And it was like, I remember that after we dug out from the last one, I drove to work one day. Somehow the roads were clear, and everybody's up on the roof pulling off the snow because it was just, I mean, everybody. You drove, it was, everyone's on their roof. It was that bad. So we get crazy weather from time to time, and in this summer we got the crazy weather. It really did. And Steeler fan says it's 100, feels like 107 at 6:30. Yeah. Oh, he's in Houston. I get out of the rink the other night, and I'll talk about that in a second. Monday night, I get out of the rink at 10:30. I went outside. It was 85 degrees at 10:30 at night. In fact, Al Red Sox fan was doing a thing on YouTube, and I was chatting with him in the chat room, and he said that it was, it was midnight when he was doing it was 87 degrees at midnight. So I mean, that's how it is. Oh yeah, and we're in a bad drought too. Matthew said he's got a worst drought in the state's recorded history going back hundreds of years. Yeah, we're in a bad drought. We don't have droughts. We have spells. Okay, we have spells where we'll get be like, hey, don't we've had 4 or 5 90-degree days, and for a couple more days, don't use your water sprinklers and stuff like that because it's just going to be too hot. You're going to waste water. So we're trying to conserve water. And okay, whatever, that's fine. But we I don't know what stage we're on now, but we just haven't seen more than an inch of rain in 6 weeks, and it's just been, my lawn has been long gone. Usually we have the what's called hay. The grass dries up and turns to hay in the extreme heat. Usually that's August. This happened in July 4th. July 4th I had hay, and we had trees that we planted last year. They're all dead. I don't think they survived. They're all brown right now. And I tried watering them. I was out there watering them for a week straight, 4 times a day watering them, and it didn't help. It just didn't help as Bernard stops by. So what are we talking about tonight here? A couple things I wanted to talk about. So I wanted to tell you that the heat was a real thing, and I want to wrap that up, and we'll try not to talk about that anymore because that was just a conversation piece because it was just ridiculous. We were supposed to record yesterday, and I was supposed to scorekeep a hockey game Monday night, and they asked me to referee. And I refereed, and I hit a bad patch of ice, and I fell, and I hit my head. And I had concussion-like symptoms. In fact, I'm still a bit woozy, and I'm lucky as heck that if I didn't have a helmet on, I would have died. There was no doubt that when I fell and I hit my shoulder and then my head snapped and I hit the ice with this part of my helmet, there's no doubt if I didn't have a helmet on, I would have cracked my skull wide open. I would have died. There's no doubt. But that's why you have a helmet on, and I don't go out there without a helmet. So it wouldn't have happened because I always have a helmet on. So the helmet did its job, but the whole side of my head hurt from the impact. And I had a doctor look at it, and he's like, there's no swelling, but it's probably sore just from like all the padding in the helmet hitting and absorbing the hit. So I fell pretty hard. In fact, I went in and I turned to look at the puck this way. I was refereeing, and I hit a patch, and I just, my feet stopped, my body went one way, and I went up in the air, and it's just come down and hit, and I tried to control my head, but I was just going so fast, I hit and snapped it back, and it's kind of like getting in a car accident. And I hit my head pretty bad, and I was pretty scared. I was pretty scared, actually, and I blew the whistle, and everyone come over. Of course, you're embarrassed because you're down on the ice, and hi, Jerry. Yeah, thank you. Jerry, you coming this week? I haven't seen you in hockey in a couple weeks. Hope you come. And I got a T-shirt for you, too, by the way. And I remember I'm on the ice, and I'm looking down, and everybody's like coming over to me, and I didn't know anybody. I was at a rink that I don't know anybody. And I just said, I hit my head. I said, give me a second. I hit my head. And I looked up, and I was clear, and I was focused, and I didn't have a headache. And I was like, wow, how did I survive this? And they helped me up, and I finished the game, and then I hit another rut. And I fell down on my shoulder, and I didn't hit my head this time. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me. And so I finished the game, and now I'm like totally paranoid to go out on the ice again because I'm afraid that if I go to stop, I'm going to hit a rut, and I'm going to fall over and hit my head again. So I have some mental hurdles now I need to get over. Luckily, I don't think I'm refereeing on the ice for a month. I think just how the schedule works out. We got a championship game that I film, I broadcast, and then we got a couple weeks off. So it's kind of like you're getting bit by a dog. You don't want to pet another dog, I went down pretty hard, and I hit my head really hard, and it was very scary. And I'm just thank God that all I had was some soreness. and I'm a little slow right now. I'm just, haha, make all the jokes you want, but yeah, I'm not going very fast right now. In fact, I spent all of Tuesday. Luckily, I didn't have to do anything until Tuesday night. I spent all of Tuesday in my bedroom with the shades drawn, the lights out, the AC on, and I froze myself out in the dark. And that was, I couldn't even really look at my phone, So that's what my doctor said. Don't look at anything. Just stay in a darkened room as long as you can. That helped. I got to tell you, that really helped because I did have to go to the rink that night, and I didn't play, I didn't ref or anything, but I just kind of ran the night. And being in the dark room definitely helped. But I had a tough day because I had to go food shopping, and I left my phone in my car. I never leave my phone in my car. And then I left it in the shopping cart, walked off. Luckily, it was still there. I'm like, holy cow, I am making all kinds of mistakes today. So ID Jessa stops by. Good to see you, ID. Haven't talked to you in a long, long time. So hopefully you're doing. Holy cow, I'm talking about my concussion here, and you had way more than I did. Oh, yeah, the rain. Can you send the rain this way? It's too bad we couldn't swap, right? Send the rain. I'll send you some sun down there. Yeah, good Lord for helmets. Yes, it was. Holy cow, that was unbelievable. Matt said he's got when you get migraines, yeah, that's what they tell you to do, yeah. Luckily, though, when I saw the doctor, he's a friend of mine, and he's just like, the lights don't bother you? He's like, no. He's like, follow my finger. Everything looked good. He goes, I'd still take it easy for a little while. So yeah, but I'm kind of nervous about getting back on the ice. I really am because it's just, if next time I go to stop, if I hit, I'm going to be scared that I'm going to hit and fall again. And it's a fluke. What happens a fluke? It's never happened. What have I been skating since 1980 something? I've hit ruts before, but I've never hit a rut and fell like that in 40 years. So yeah, it was scary, and I can't believe that I come out. At least to this point, I've come out of it unscathed. But I'm still kind of very slow, and I haven't I got hockey bones set up to play. I pulled out second season, right? Let me focus that in. So I got second season ready to go. I pulled out Solitaire Pro Football. I have all these games I pulled out, and I was ready to play. And what happens? I can't focus good enough to concentrate on this stuff. And they said not to. They said don't try to focus on anything. So I have it. So we were supposed to long story short, between the heat, we were supposed to record yesterday, and I just was not in any shape to record yesterday, and even today we were supposed to record. So I think we're going to try tomorrow if all goes well. I actually had a pain in my head, like when you bump something and it hurts. That's how my head felt, and that was weird because I had a concussion when I was probably 23. I was tubing, grabbing onto the tube, and they sent me into the whip, and I went flying and then crashed into the lake, and I hit my head in the lake. And I know it. I get on the boat. It was like, get me back to shore. And I just was like this the rest of the day. And I come home, and I couldn't look at the light. And I was messed up. And so that was a definite concussion. This one here, I'm not sure how bad it was. It was mild at best because the light didn't bother me. But I'm still kind of not really wanting to think a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to play a game and think about it. And I haven't played any games. So T-Bow stops by. Thank you. You got a concussion playing hockey in '88. Did not remember where I was. Yeah, see, I knew exactly where I was and what was going on, so I felt good about that. But still, it's very scary, and so my summer has been just terrible. It really has. I'm not a summer guy. Of course, I like my nice days, but the thing is, as the guy that runs hockey leagues, it's just so much hotter in the summer because everyone's away and no one wants to play when it's hot out, and so it's twice the work for half the money, so to speak. And you try to keep things going, and the wife doesn't like the heat at all. So we're always trying to keep the ACs going in the house, and you can't walk the dog in the heat. So, I mean, just when it gets really hot, our house gets miserable. We don't like the heat that much. And so this summer was just so much worse for us, so whatever. And the heat usually doesn't bother me. Usually when I'm driving down the highway, I have the windows open. And she's always like, put on the AC. I was like, no, I like the breeze. I do. Even if it's 95 degrees out, I get the breeze going. This year, it's like windows up, AC on. That's what it was, Yeah, when I hit the water. It's kind of like, when you do a belly flop and you hit the water, how you slap my head, hit the water. And, when I hit the lake, yeah. And Robbie got some games running on his phone. That's kind of cool. The older games. Yep. So anyway, what I thought I would talk about, I just want to come on and say hi to everybody. So that's why we haven't done a podcast. That's why we haven't done a Patreon event. And I apologize for that. So I talked to Ron, and we're going to make up for it once the weather. In fact, the weather has broke. Last night when I got out of the rink, I got to the rink, it was 90. And when I get out of the rink, it was 70. It had dropped 20 degrees, and that was a huge deal. It was actually breathable. Right now, it's 67. It hasn't been 67 degrees since June. Okay, and here we are, the first week of August, almost mid-August. So anyway, so that's why we haven't. But I talked to Ron, and we're going to make up for it this fall and this winter. We're going to probably do a couple podcasts a week. We're going to do a couple of Patreons. We're going to make up for it all. So once it gets more comfortable. In fact, when I talked to Ron, that poor guy, he has to have all these lights on in his room, and it just bakes him. And sometimes he'll call me up, and he'll have his light off, and you can barely see his face. Just the glow of the computer screen is like, I have to have the lights off. It's just too hot in here. So there's no way that we could really do anything with that either. So anyway, so what I thought I'd do tonight is just have a little bit of fun, okay, and talk about a couple things. And so they had the big Powerball this week, and I'm going to keep this wicked light tonight because, again, I'm not thinking very clear right now. I'm better. I am better than I was yesterday, but still I'm not quite ready to get into anything deep. So I thought it'd be fun to talk tonight about that Powerball. That big Powerball that hit there that they had. And this is just something fun we always talk about. So if you hit the Powerball, what would you do differently with gaming? And I'm not talking about the fancy cards, but the gaming. So I'm talking to my gaming friends right now. What were some of the things that you would do in your gaming life? You hit the Powerball, you get, I don't know, it would have to be a significant amount. You couldn't hit, $1 million. As much as $1 million sounds like a lot, it's really not. It's $37,000 a year. It's basically a paycheck. So if you hit a big one, you hit $500 million, or let's just say whatever you hit, you take the lump sum and it's $500 million. So you're set for life. Okay. What would you do in your gaming world? And Matthew says, yeah, I buy a lot more. Yeah, but what? For example, here's what I would do: is I would try to find a bigger house with a view, whether it's the ocean, or the mountains, or the lake, or someplace with a view, and I would try to have this big, long room with a window, so I could get up in the morning and I could have like 5 or 6 games laid out, and so that way I could have my hockey bones, second season, shootout hockey. So I wouldn't have to keep changing Studio A or Studio B. I could just lay everything out I wanted to play, and then sit at this table, and then sit at this table, and then sit at this table. You know what I mean? So and I'd have a view on all of them. I would. In fact, I'd find a way to be able to have a hot tub and play from the hot tub or something like that. So I think for me, along with buying more games, I definitely would not hesitate to try something new and get a bunch of seasons. And I obviously have to build some kind of a shelving system in this room that would have like behind me over here. See all the Apple stuff behind me over here, and then all the PlayStation stuff behind me over here. I'd have to have similar to that for all the games I would buy. So that's what I would do. Is I try to find a place with a view that had accessible shipping. I wouldn't want to go to Antarctica, let's say, because it had a nice view of a glacier, and then not be able to get stuff shipped to me. So I'd have to find a place that I could get stuff shipped to me. But I'd like to set up a place that I could set up my gaming room and have a couple of gaming computers so I could play on them, and I'd have a bunch of tables set up so I could have my gaming. And and like ID does. ID has those monster games like the I don't even know what some of them are called there, but they're like the ghost games and the detective games where you need a lot of space to set up, and they got pieces. I would love to have a couple of monster tables like that and try to play some of those games, which I really don't have the space for here, But I would like to do something like that, Jerry says, playing games in a hot tub. That's a mental. No, that's good. No, you will not sleep tonight thinking about that one there. But just like a wireless controller playing a game, from the hot tub or something like that, or whatever. But so what would be some of the things that you would do I mean, within reason. I mean, we're all just reasonable people. But it's thinking pie in the sky. If I hit that one and like my bank account had 5 million in it, 500 million, it's like, okay, let me find a house with a view and then set up all my games in a game room. That's what I like to do. Yeah, well, more time to play. Well, if you had a bunch of money, then you wouldn't have to go to work. That would be one of the things. So it technically would buy time. At least for me, it would. I'd be, then I could, and like ID said, forget the tables, just have a butler set up all my games and just give him my schedule. Yeah. I'd have him go out and buy some pineapple pizza and say, hey, I got Bruins Sabres Hockey Bones here at noon. And then after the pineapple pizza at 3 o'clock, I want to play some shootout hockey. And then tonight, set up some Cleveland Spiders baseball for me. Yeah, that would be kind of fun. You buy a nice PC, play all the PC games on YouTube. Yeah, all you have is an iPad. Yep, that would be another thing to do. Have a desk or a table for each game. Yeah, that's where I was kind of going, like a big, long monster table that would run the length of the room and the view. I could look out at the view, so that's one of the things I was thinking too. Let's see, start a new game company. Okay, that's what ID said too. Start a game company, produce some board games. I thought about that. Holy cow, I don't think I could make a game. I would just, I'm not sure where I would stop because there's a lot of games I play and I like the way they are. So, I mean, I suppose if I made a game, all I would be doing would be copying a game that I have and then tweaking it. So I'd be kind of stealing someone's game because I couldn't think of a unique way to play hockey or football or baseball right now. It's kind of all been done. That's just kind of what I think. Hang on a sec. My new favorite drink is the Adirondack Sparkling Raspberry Lime, okay? And I was at Market Basket yesterday checking out, and the lady behind me puts down a 12-pack of that right next to the divider, And I was just like, that is my new favorite drink. I says, I've tried them all. That's the last one I tried is the raspberry lime. I'm like, yeah, raspberry lime. But I said, that's my favorite now. She's like, oh, it's the best, isn't it? Yeah, so we had a chat about that. But she put it too close to my divider. I don't know about you, but I have there's divider etiquette on the conveyor belt. Okay, that I think there should be divider etiquette, and it should be posted. So you put all your stuff on the belt, and then you get this little thing, and it's about the size of a ruler. You know what I mean? It's basically a ruler, and usually it says like American Express or insurance. It's some sponsored thing, but you take it and you put it. So when you're done putting all your stuff on there, you put it there so they can start loading their stuff on the conveyor belt, and so they can check out, right? But I hate it when the people butt it right up against it. It's like, no, I need 2.5 inches, 2.5 to 3 inches. That is what it is. You do not butt it up against my divider. My divider divides the orders, but you still need to give my divider breathing room. And it irks me when I'm in line and someone puts stuff up and they butt it right up against the divider. I'm like, don't touch my divider. I don't know why. Yes, I do. I have divider etiquette. I do. And when I do that, when someone else puts a divider down, I put my stuff and I give it, like I say, 2.5, 3 inches, between 2 and 3 inches. That's what I never go right up against it. I think that's just like encroaching on someone's territory. I think they were nice enough to put the divider down so you could stop putting your stuff on the belt. Don't abuse it though. Put your stuff down, give them a little bit of space. It's kind of like a thank you for putting that down. I'm not going to jam it up your butt, with all my stuff. I want to be quite clear that this is where my stuff ends and this is where yours begins. And I want that divider to have a little bit of a cushion each way. So when the lady's doing the scanning, she's not grabbing anybody's stuff and putting it in my order. And then she's going to turn on the light and it flashes. And then now the manager comes over and it's all hell breaks loose. Okay. So yes, Jerry, there is divider etiquette. I do not need help for divider etiquette. Okay. So I have divider etiquette when I'm at the grocery store. But anyway, this new stuff here, this raspberry lime, is unbelievable here. I've been really doing that. Robbie says, I wouldn't know when to begin making. I wouldn't either. I mean, I would probably start with a game that I like and then tweak it. But I've kind of done that. I mean, I did that with every game. I've tweaked to a point where I really, really like where it is. So I don't know if I'd even want to create a game because I like the games I'm playing. The reason I create things is because, necessity is the mother of invention or something like that. If there's something that's missing, I fill that hole. That's when I create, is when there's something that needs to be created. And right now there's not a game that I think needs to be created. I don't know. What does ID say here? There's a lot of popular board games that are just copies of other games with new rules and updated procedures. Making something better is always good. Yeah, but that's where the tweaking comes in. You know, so I don't know if I do a fact game, a fast action card game, or a dice game. I don't know which one I would do. Okay, I guess what I would do is I really would try to make a good PC. I would pay someone to make a good PC version of Apple Baseball and Apple Hockey. I guess that's what I would do. Is I'd hire some software people, see if I could buy the rights to those games for the PC version, because I like Apple Baseball and I like Apple Hockey, and I'd love to be able to play them and then have it also kind of work with the PC. You know what I mean? So I could sim some games and play others, because there's not either that or contact. Who's the guy that did PC Replay Basketball? Oh, what's his name? Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name now. The guy that does all the he did second season. Richard Hanna? Is that the guy I'm thinking of? Like I say, I'm not thinking very clearly here. But get him, pay him. Richard Hanna. Yes, thank you, T-Bell. Thank you. I'm not a little cloudy here. Get him to do a hockey game so I could play any hockey game and input the stats, and then have the computer simulate the rest of the stuff, and then keep all the stuff like the PC Replay Baseball and PC Replay Basketball and stuff like that. So yeah, I would have him do that. Yeah, so definitely I would get Richard Hanna, and I would say, okay, I'm going to give you a bunch of money, make this game. That's what I would do. ID says, just make the divider 6 inches wide. Problems? No. Again, this is the divider. Okay, you're gonna put your stuff on the divider. You put it here. You don't put it here. You don't put it here. You don't even put it here. You put it right about here. That's the safe spot. So if I take my Altoids, if you put down the divider, okay, ID puts down the divider, and I put my Altoids on the belt, they go right about here. Okay, maybe as close as this, but I don't butt them up against it, because that's butting up. That's your divider. It's too close to your divider. So we had divider etiquette. That's what we do. And Robbie says, I would pay Richard Hanna to make it. Yes, that's that. Yeah. So yeah, we're thinking the same. Everybody wants Richard Hanna to make a hockey game, and that's what we need to do. I hear the rumor that they're working on the Strat Hockey Utility. And I don't know if it's going to work with the PC game or not, but I heard that they're working with the hockey utility. So I hope they do something with that. But I definitely would try to get Appa Base. I like the Appa Go is okay, but if they could make that a computer game rather than a web-based game, and that would keep stats and simulate games like the Strat, that would be great. Because I like Strat Baseball and I like Appa Baseball, but I don't have a computerized Apple in there. What does Tebow got to say? Your OCD is when people start checking their stuff out when I'm not done bagging. Grocery rage. Yeah, that is, again, that's where the divider comes in. You need to have the divider. That separates, Luckily, they don't start scanning until they get everything bagged and I'm out. So that's one thing they don't do, because otherwise the orders would get mixed up. So they don't do that. So that's kind of good. Although I am unbelievable on picking the wrong line. Like, you look down, it's like 3 full deep sometimes. I go in the morning, but it's always like old people day. And so they're just jammed with old people. And it's just like, okay, this lane looks good. And it kind of reminds you of the Bugs Bunny cartoon with the guys in the bank and all the other lines are going. He's behind the line that's not moving. That's what and my line never moves. In fact, when someone gets behind me, I just shake my head and say, you do not want to be in his line. Just find it, even if it's longer, it'll go faster. So, yeah, that's that. Let me see here. First dice game was back in the 70s. Extra innings. Tony, I have not heard of extra innings. That's interesting. I have not heard of extra innings. That's one game I haven't heard of yet. And I'm getting into my baseball mode. In fact, I think I said this a while back. I'm dreading getting into baseball games because there's probably 100 of them. And I think I got 15 of them right now that I'm playing. And I just love playing new games. Ron calls me the Golden Corral guy, which I guess is true. I like my buffet of games. I like to play different things. It's just what I like to do. But anyway, yeah, getting back to the topic. So, let's see. So if I had that, that Powerball thing there, I would definitely get a couple of nice computers so I could do that. I'd probably try to get a nice little studio set up so I could broadcast some of this stuff. I would definitely have a room with a view so I could play and look out. And I get jealous of some of you guys that you post like where you're playing, whether it's at your house or on vacation. Sometimes you get a nice little picture of your setup, and then you get like a nice view, and it's like, holy cow, that's nice. That's a nice relaxing gaming view right there. It really is. So that's what I would like to do, and I'd like to leave everything set up too, so I wouldn't have to keep putting away and picking up in the whole bit. So that's what I'd like to do there. I wouldn't necessarily buy every game, even though you probably could, because I wouldn't get to play them all. But I would like to try some new things. I'd like to try some of the detective games and some of those ghosts and ghouls. I forget what's that. No, the Eldritch Horror. That's another one that ID plays. Eldritch Horror. Those look so much fun. I'd like to get the Star Wars one, like the Outer Rims. And you know how they have all the action figures and you move them around, you slide them around. That looks like it's a lot of fun. But those things are expensive, so that would be a big investment there. But I'd like to play something like that. I would definitely probably have like widescreen TV set up so I could have the hockey games on or the football games or whatever it is that I'm doing while playing, because I do like to have something on like that while I play, even just to listen to. I think the NHL playoffs there, I had my iPad set up, and I would just have that playing the audio, and I would be playing my game, whatever it is, and I'd be listening to the games. And then maybe late in the game I go on and turn on the TV. But I listened mostly on the radio to the Stanley Cup playoffs there, and it was very enjoyable because it was just kind of in the background, and I could keep tabs on the score. And if it got to a point like 3 or 4 minutes left in the game, 1-goal game or tied, then I would jump on the TV and watch it. But at least that way there, I got to play something and I got to listen. Because if I had it on video, you never get to your game. You're so focused on watching the game. But when it's on in the background, it's great. Oh, boy. Do I dare post this one from ID? Here we go. As far as what I would do. ID would buy Stratomatic, take it over, fix all their problems with their games and how they do things, and make a computer game that isn't from 1990. Fair enough. I would probably support you. I probably would. Although I do like their baseball game. I do. I didn't think I'd like it because of that reason, because it looks so old. I didn't think I would like Stratomatic PC baseball. But after I played it just a couple of games, I got the hang of it now, and I really do like it. What's Robbie got over here? Robbie says, don't know if Apple will ever make another computer game, since baseball for Windows never got an update this year. But a hockey game he could see going to PC. And I don't know if Gary's working on that or not. The app or the baseball for Windows, I looked at that, and you don't really do anything that I could see it. You just kind of like watch it. And don't get me wrong, I love my games, and I don't have to make a lot of decisions. But that one there, really, there is an Apple hockey game on DOS, and you just sat there and watched it, and you didn't roll dice, you didn't do anything. It made no sense. David stops by. Hello, David. My head's a little bit better, but I'm still not over. I don't know if it was definitely a concussion or not, but I definitely had some issues, and I finally felt better enough to come on and just say hi. As you notice, I'm not playing anything. I did want to play some Spiders baseball tonight. I'm dying to, and I got a new project coming up too. Right after Spiders baseball, I got another one that's going to be very similar to the Spiders. Let's hope it's as much fun as the Spiders. They're not as bad as the Spiders, so that's kind of good. But I do want to finish up the Spiders season to see how I do in Strat baseball, and I want to start playing some more APA baseball. I got like I said, my little board back here. You can't even see it back here anymore. I haven't pulled that out in a long time. My dice tray with the baseball, that thing is beautiful, and I love using that. I haven't used it yet. Oh, Gary Brown's. Oh, is that is it the Stone Ridge or the Mountain Ridge? Is that the company that's Gary Brown's? Because this is a company that's putting out a hockey game, and I thought it was something Ridge, Blue Mountain or Mountain Ridge, or I'm sorry if I don't remember the name of it right now. Tony, what do you got here? Have I ever heard of Cactus League basketball? I've heard of it. I haven't played it, but I have heard of Cactus League basketball, and I heard good things about it too. It's expensive and always crashes your computer. I don't have it on my computer, but I have heard of it. A couple other people have brought it up. Stone Mountain. Okay, I was really close with that. Stone Mountain Press. So I was on the right track. I did see that they're working on a game there, too. I did see that. But I've been, like I say, kind of waiting for the heat to break, and then I hit my head, so I'm not thinking very clearly. But I'm getting in the football mode. Like I said, I did pull out second season. I did pull out And what I did is they're very similar games. Second season in Solitaire Pro Football. I like them both, and I got a bunch of seasons for both. In fact, Michael from Solitaire Pro Football just sent me over some stuff. I guess they updated some of the seasons. He's going back and he's redoing his seasons, which is kind of neat because he had some seasons that had all the whoop-de-doos, and he had some that didn't, and then he had some that were just kind of basics. And I think he's redoing some of the older seasons. So when you order the Solitaire Pro Football season, some of them you get like the full schedules, the quick play. The quick play schedules are all laid out for you. You get different stats and different spreadsheets to use. And you get the whole caboodle. You get so much. I was so blown away with what you get with Solitaire Pro Football. I really am with the season. And it's all PDF, and it's fairly inexpensive. So I really liked it. So I actually pulled that out, and I read the instructions again so I could familiarize myself. And then I did the same with second season. Pulled that out, read the instructions. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with, but I got the Tom Milne Helper, Pro Football Helper up, and I set up. And I think I was going to play I don't know why I pulled out 1984, and I got the Lions at the Giants. I don't know why. I was scrolling through the PDF, and it's like, oh, Billy Sims. Yeah. And I scrolled through the Giants. I was like, oh, I know some of those. And I just printed out two teams. I was like, okay, I guess I'm playing. And Ron said they didn't play in 84. But I was like, something, I'm going to just play them. I love playing the one-off kind of crazy games. So it's not part of any bigger project. So I'm going to play 84. I think it's 84 Lions at Giants just to play and have some fun. And Tebow says, Cactus used to make APA basketball PC. I did not know that there was an APA basketball PC, And Richard Hanna brought the Legends of Boxing game to PC. Yeah, he does amazing stuff with that. I heard he was doing a racing game, not a hockey game. Maybe when he's done the racing game. Hopefully. That'd be fun. But yeah, I would definitely hire somebody to do a hockey game like that. I would. Or just make the app a hockey game so you could play it like Strat, something like that, and you could sim games and a whole. But I absolutely would. I would. I might even try to find a way to make the play games available on the PC somehow, because those games are really fun too. But sometimes you just want to put your feet up, grab the mouse, lean back, and play a game on the computer. And not have to set up everything. And that's fun. It is. Setting up and cards and dice and the whole bit. But sometimes it is kind of cool just to let the computer do the heavy stuff. Like I say, this summer was a perfect example of that. I don't want to set up anything when I'm hot. It's just not what I want to do. So if I could sit here with fans blowing on me and I could just get on the computer, and if I could play, the Red, White, and Blue Racing or History Maker Golf on the computer somehow, that'd be beautiful. Yeah, so I would pay somebody to do the computer version of that. I actually would. Yes, this new game here, the Anthony's new Glory Days College Football. Yeah, Al was playing that the other night. I was actually listening to that in bed, but it was, like I say, I think I was listening to, was it last night? But I went right to bed last night after I got home from work, and I listened, but I couldn't really pay attention because I was still a little loopy there or whatever. So I was paying attention a little bit, And Ray's here. So dumb. What is your go-to deodorant when playing games in the heat, I'm an Axe man. It drives the ladies wild. Okay, it does. Axe drives the lady wild. But I like to support companies, and there was Old Spice used to sponsor the Red Zone. And I don't have the Red Zone anymore, but for years, Old Spice sponsored the Red Zone. So I still like to pick up Old Spice once in a while, original, and use that as my deodorant of choice. So I go between the Axe. When I'm feeling wild and crazy, I go with, when I'm Arthur Fonzarelli, I go with the Axe. And when I'm Mr. Cunningham, I go with the Old Spice. That's my go-to deodorant in the heat. In fact, right now I'm still, even though it's cooled down, it's 67 degrees outside, I'm still hot here in the basement. It is. Yeah. Yeah, I better start getting to church because I don't want to get out. You're right. Speaking about going down there, the wife and I have talked for a long time about what we want to do when we get older. I mean, no, we're old now, but when we get old, about, maybe going south and, going down to Florida, find a place with a pool, whatever. But after this last bout, and every summer we go through this, we get a heat wave. And like, yeah, we ain't going to Florida. And then the winter comes like, yeah, we're going to Florida. I think this pretty much cemented it that if we go anywhere, we're going north. We're not. I don't think we're going to go south and deal with alligators and snakes and this type of weather all year round. And then it gets even hotter. The summer times, you can't even go outside, So I think, I think we're going to probably not do the southern thing. It's just, it'd be nice. Maybe like you get away in the winter for a while, but yeah, to go down there and live all year, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. Robbie, what do you get? Maybe the racing game. Richard's working Israel. No, I don't think it would be that. But I heard he was working on a PC racing game. So that'd be kind of neat. Yes, my Around the Layout T-shirt. I still wear that to the gym. And that's Ray's podcast. If you like model trains, go check out Around the Layout podcast. Ray does a terrific podcast. He interviews people about model railroading and trains in the basement, in the garage and stuff. It's really neat stuff. Yes, man, I would avoid Florida at all. Yeah. Well, no, I there's some good things about Florida. I mean, they got the Buccaneers, right? They got the Buccaneers down there, and they got the Lightning, a good hockey team, and I think they had some minor league hockey teams down there too. But yeah, it's the last time I went there, it was in the end of May. We went to Orlando, and we were baking. And I was like, holy cow, this is like May. It's not even the heat of the summer, No, I'm staying away from California. I don't get within 1,000 miles of California. The closest I get to California now is Las Vegas, but I won't cross into California. Just I don't need to walk in and get taxed out of my house and home as soon as I walk into California. Sorry, I know you live there, and I won't go to California. Not me. Florida was a lot cooler than 90% of the country. Yeah, the ocean keeps it cool, but more humid. Yeah. I would imagine, this has been hot. The droughts are everywhere, so I imagine that Florida was, was probably a lot. I mean, there was probably no difference between Florida and Boston this summer. So you're right about that. But this is unusual for us. And I get the people up here. There's people up here that love this stuff, and they're like, "It's summer. Just deal with it. It's summer." No, this is not your normal summer. It's like, again, like I said this before, it's like saying the Titanic is just another boat accident. It's just not. This summer was out of control. It just was way out of control for way too long. It got to a point where the other night when I get out of the rink and it was 80, 85 or 86, I get in the truck, it was like 85 or 86 degrees at 10:30 at night. 10:30 at night. And it was 85 degrees. I'm like, I don't remember a cold day up here. It was so long and so hot. It's like, I don't think it's ever going to cool down. I said, it's going to be like this forever. That's just kind of how it felt. And then finally it cooled down last night, and it's like, I don't believe it. I don't believe that I can actually say that it's in the 60s, because it hasn't been in the 60s in a long time. And what do we got here? And the gaff shows up here. New Orleans was horrible. Oh, yeah, I did hear that the New Orleans was a tough spot. Louisiana, tough. All the swamps and the alligators and the all that stuff down the bayou. Is that what it is? Yeah, I heard that was pretty bad. And Florida in September was the worst heat and humidity I've ever felt. You could chew the air. Yeah, yep. He says the winters are great, the summers are bad, but those 3 months are not as bad as the 3 months you have. That's something we could debate. I mean, as bad as this heat was, an ice storm is the worst. When you have an ice storm and, everything's frozen and you got no electricity and it's zero, that's a concern. This heat, even though it's a concern, the chances that you freezing to death are probably greater than you baking to death. So I would agree that, if I would rather have this weather than 6 weeks of an ice storm. Yeah. Our winters have not been that bad up here, except for that one that we got. Was it 6 or 9 feet of snow? I forget what it was. I want to say it was 9 feet of snow that we got in 1 month. It was pretty bad. I said a week. I think it was a month. So we could have that debate. We could, but I'm used to the winters up here. As long as it's not too bad. Again, if you got a bad spell of anything, you can deal with a bad spell. But when it continues on, and we had a winter one time that it was 0 degrees for the entire month of February and March. It was like it just wouldn't warm up. It's like, man, come on, it's been 0 for 8 weeks. Come on, give us a break here. Even in March, it was like 0 degrees in March. That is ridiculous. So let's see what else we got here. Pre-August and August. Yeah, we didn't have a July. We had 2 August. Yep, it was. And Cleveland baseball fans up. I had 2 ice storms in February. Yeah, the ice storms are terrible. We had some bad weather up here. I think it was a couple years ago. And then I looked, and like in Maine, they had the ice storm. It's like, oh my gosh, because it rains and then freezes just like that, and all the telephone poles are full of ice. And then once electricity's gone, they can't fix them. They just can't fix them. Luckily, lately in my adult life that when we've had that, we've got the warm up. It never stays cold for that long. We usually get a little bit of sun, a little bit of warm to kind of melt the line so they can work on them. So, yeah, I can imagine it's pretty hot down there. So, but again, if we go back to my Powerball thing, that I would definitely have climate control in my gaming space, so I would not be sweating like I am right now. I would have plenty of AC going, and so that would not be an issue. And then in the winter time, it would be nice and warm. Maybe even have a little fireplace going. He'll crackle the fireplace while I play some games, and we do our podcast. You might hear the crackle of the fireplace, in the background there. I might even set up Ron with something. You know what I mean? Like if I hit the Powerball 500 million or whatever, I'd buy Ron a nice trailer. I would set him and Sarah up in a nice trailer somewhere, maybe in Louisiana, down in New Orleans, like Gaff was saying. Set up Ron in a nice trailer down in New Orleans. Yeah, I'd make it a double wide trailer. I would. I would go all out for the guy. Make it a double wide trailer so he could get his wheelchair in and out, and let him enjoy New Orleans, in the summertime. I think he would like that. Yeah. I think that would be the thing to do with Ron. Set him up with a nice trailer down in New Orleans, and I think he would be much happier. I know he's a Canadians fan. He likes being close to Montreal, but I think I would set him up with a nice trailer there, and I'd make sure that he had a nice portable air conditioner, not the one that he has. He would have a really nice portable air conditioner in his room, a better one than he has. So I would set him up with something real nice. Kidding, by the way. I don't know what I would do with that guy. What does ID say? You fish and golf all year long without breaks? No, you can't. You can't fish and golf all year without breaks. You can't go out and golf and some of that stuff up and down there. So now you're a little crazy. Now you're getting a little crazy. You hang out at the beach when it gets hot and check out all the chicks. Maybe that, okay? And you get all the best prices on. I don't know about that. We get some good seafood up here. The food up here is unbelievable. It really is. But no, you can't golf down there. When I was down there in May, and I think it was actually the beginning of May, now that I think about it, and we went from the house to the car, to the store, back to the car, to the house, and in the house. The whole ride to the store, we didn't see anybody running, walking their dog, golfing, playing tennis, cutting their grass. Nobody was out. Everybody was inside. It was so hot. And that was in May. And I remember wow, this is eerie. I don't see anybody around here all year long, except in a blizzard, obviously. Even a blizzard, you get hardy souls out there. We didn't see anybody. So you can't golf when it's that hot. I mean, excuse me, maybe early in the morning and then late at night. But, if you want a tea time after 10 in the morning, forget it. Because, they're like, hey, let's get down to the store, get some hamburgers. Okay, so we run to the car. I think he actually went outside, turned on the car, and come back in and let the AC get in the car. I think that's how bad it was. And then we drove to the store, and then right to the store, right back to the car, right back to the house. But there was no hanging out. There was no, hey, let's go for an ice cream and sit on this picnic table and have an ice cream. There was nothing like that. It just wasn't like that. And sometimes it can be hot. I mean, and every place gets really hot, yeah. Oh, you don't do it in the afternoon, you do it in the morning. Yeah, well, here's the thing. See, that's the fine detail that you didn't clarify, okay? This is what I read. We fish and golf all year long without breaks. I didn't see anywhere where you said, but in the morning only, okay? You led me to believe, and the audience to believe that, you guys go 24/7 down there, okay? So let's not kid a kidder, okay? I did see that some places had air-conditioned golf carts, and people would get in the golf carts and had air conditioning. I don't know where that was, but I did see that, so that looked kind of interesting. It did, so. But anyway, maybe that's one of the things I would do, is I would get down to Florida, and I would get an air-conditioned golf cart. We can go golfing at noontime, get in the air-conditioned golf cart. We could have our raspberry lime sparkling water, and we could hit some golf balls down there, and then be nice and cool in the cart. Oh, what we could do, maybe what we could do is maybe I would hire Ray. Right, Ray Ironheart, and I'd have him hold umbrellas over us to keep us in the shade when we hit our ball. So we would take Ray down there. Now Ray would have to walk. Okay, so we'd be in the air conditioned car, and then when we come out and hit the ball, he could hold the big umbrella up like that and shade us from the sun. Maybe that's what we could do. Yeah. And there's fans in the golf carts, ice buckets in the seat to keep you cool. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's actually a good idea, actually. Up here, the problem we have up here, there's a couple places I used to golf, and one of them, two of them that I really liked. They were 9-hole courses, I think they were, but it was flies, and they were the horse flies, and they bite. So you'd be teeing off, you'd be like, you get a bite, and then you see everybody in the course doing one of these, and it just, there was early in the season you were fine, and late in the season you were fine, but over the summertime, you go there, it's like, man, I don't want to go here. I like the course in the whole bit, but there's a couple of months a year that you just can't go. So, and Bernard, he said he lived in Boston for 28 years, LA for 19, Vegas for 25. Holy cow, dude. That's a lot of living. Nice job. And Las Vegas would be your choice. We did think about Vegas, but the drought out there has got me concerned. As bad as it is here, we'll get snow, and that will fix it here. Ray would poke his eye out with a defective umbrella. Hit your shit or something like that. And you got down to 38 last year. Yeah, 38 in Florida. I would imagine it's chilly, yeah. Yeah, and it kills all the crops in the whole bit, I would imagine there. So, but anyway. Well, I just want to come on and say hi and just say that, we are going to make up the shows. We are going to make up the Patreons for Digital to Dice. This was a bad spell, and we're going to try to stop talking about weather. Now that it broke, we're going to try to, we'll wrap it up when we record. Hopefully tomorrow or Friday, we're going to record the show. We'll wrap up the summer weather. Hopefully we're kind of done with it, or at least done with this stretch of 6 weeks. And then we can get back to recording, and we will start catching up on the Digital Dice podcast. We will start catching up on the Patreon stuff. And it's just, I haven't played anything to talk about. I played a couple of games on Steam that you saw. I played Dome Keeper, which is very addictive. And I played Project Lazarus, which you're just walking around in a mech shooting things. And they're just kind of mindless games that I could just play and not have to think too much. And that's all I've been playing. I haven't played any sports games. So I haven't wanted to do a show, basically, because I just haven't had anything to talk about. Oh, and I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that once it gets cold, we'll be complaining how cold it is. But again, it really all depends. It all depends on the stretch. We had a bad stretch. We had even Jucket had a bad stretch up there. And we're in some severe drought, and this is our driest July in 50 years, I think they said, or something like that, maybe longer. So this was not normal. This is not just, it's hot, I'm being a baby. This was bad. This was bad. So we are going to make up for it. Hopefully tomorrow is even a better day, so I can concentrate and do the show. I think I'm doing well. I think I'm healing up from the concussion. So as long as I don't go backwards, that's the thing. I don't want to go backwards and start getting worse. So that's when I'll be concerned. Get Richard Hanner on the show, and every 5 minutes, yeah, I know. I think we have tried to reach out to him. I think we have. Train Simulator on Steam is one out over my layout in the hot base. Yeah. Again, that's why I've been playing a lot of just simple stuff here on the computer, just enjoying it here. But I do got my football games ready to go. I'm ready for football season. I got the football background and all, so that's going to be going here. So anyways, so if you guys, just throwing this out here as a little chat, if you guys hit the Powerball, what would you do differently in your gaming world? Okay, what were some of the things that you would like to do with just fake money here that we talked about here that you would do in your gaming world? Aside from like buy every game, would you do anything different? I'd like to know. Just having some fun tonight, Chad. So hey, thanks to everybody that came by. It was good to be back on again. It's been some time since I've been on, and thanks to everybody that reached out about my concussion there. And so I think I'm getting better, hopefully I just sail on out of this thing and we go from there. So we'll talk to everybody later. Again, thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.